Hello there, everybody. Welcome to our Facebook Live. I have a couple of our contestants that's going to be on our show Agents on Fire, which will be releasing most likely in late February. We recorded in Clearwater, Florida on October the 14th with Kevin Harrington from the original Shark Tank. He was the inventor of the infomercial and founder of Home Shopping Network and the As Seen on TV brand. We got to film in the Billy Mays studio, which is the legendary TV pitch man that done a lot of infomercials. So it was a really cool experience. And what we're going to be covering today, the book that just released, The Ultimate Real Estate Machine, with Jay Abraham and I. Just some of the things that you guys have been hitting on for you to exponentially grow your business rapidly as a contestant on Agents on Fire. So quickly, I'm just going to, for those that don't know and those that are watching now and will watch in the replay, because a lot of people get busy and are busy right now and they'll watch the replay. But Agents on Fire is a reality style a reality contestant style TV reality show that will be streamed on streaming networks. And the contestants are competing to win a grand prize at the end of it. So what are they competing to do? They're competing to be fully immersed into growing their business, putting some great foundational pillars in the business. So we've been, and when I speak of immersion, I'm speaking of how many hours are you two spending per day, Tiffany, Kevin, or excuse me, per week, approximately, as you're running for the show?
Probably 15 to 20 hours.
I was going to say 10 to 20 for me.
10 to 20 hours per week, just in immersion, spending time with me and things that they are executing back into your business. And let's just start out right there before we get into chapter 4 in the book, The Preeminent Agent. And we want to do a dive into three of the 11 problems that real estate agents face today, that the industry faces today, and what becoming the preeminent agent does to solve those problems. But could y'all tell me a little bit about what you've been working on behind the scenes besides those 3 problems that we'll get into in just a minute?
Well, basically, I've been working on exposing a lot of the outliers that, come with not knowing what I don't know, and just eliminating the blind spots and having the exposure. But basically, seeing practices and strategies of what other people implement that I might not have even thought about in the past.
Okay. When did you start having those breakthroughs?
Oh, almost immediately. Yeah. I mean, just the first recognition of meeting the other contestants and colleagues of the show. It's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and that's something I need to lay back down too, is this, that's one thing that I love about all of the contestants. It's a show about inspiration more than anything. So when it's released, it's going to be very inspiring how much all of you guys have accomplished and how much that you've grown just in a very short period of time. But the bond that has been created amongst all the contestants, yeah, you're competing, but you're also pushing and pulling each other along. Anything you'd like to add to that, Tiffany?
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, we are all, because, we're not competing with each other. So we are very open about how we can help each other and give each other tips and advice and how we're handling things or how we might do things more efficiently, which is great. It's really nice having that camaraderie between other agents that are, they're not competing with you. So it makes it easy for you to just be open and and freely share that information with each other.
Yeah, and we have two in one market. One is in two that are like competitors in the same market, which is the Boston market, and that's one thing even about them two ladies. They are helping each other, and there's like a strategic alliance, a strategic partnership, that could come of that in the future. And they've already mentioned, some of that, whether it happens or doesn't happen. But it's just really cool that there's no fear of loss. It's just, hey, we want to help each other type thing, which is amazing, the collaboration. Well, shoot, let's jump into it. Going into the ultimate real estate machine, chapter number 4 is the preeminent agent. And what are some of the problems that the industry has that being the preeminent agent in the marketplace solves? Number one, or in no order, but this one's a big one, low consumer trust ratings for the real estate industry. And per the data, and this is just the cold hard truth, as I promised in the post, that this is going to be unedited, it's going to be raw, it's going to be real, and it's going to be have the tough conversation. Here's what the fact is that many don't want to hear, and you can't just stick your head in the sand and ignore the data. And what the data is that from Business Wire, a study that they did found that only 11% of consumers trust real estate agents. That's not a very good trend. And that was, I believe, in 2018 is when that market research was completed. Most likely, those numbers have not, there's probably not more than 11% that trust real estate agents today. So what's your thoughts about that statistic, and how being the preeminent agent, the number one most trusted advisor that falls in love with the client over their own products and services, the one that does not play the short game, the one that plays the long game, which is the right game of the lifetime client game. Just quite honest, as I promised, again, being raw, my personal opinion is if someone just wants to play the short game and, they're not going to do everything above and beyond that word always gets me, a fiduciary responsibility, they honestly probably don't need to be in our industry. Those are probably the ones that are giving the industry a bad reputation to begin with. It's just my own personal, humble opinion. But what's your thoughts on how being the preeminent agent helps deliver more trust to the industry?
Basically, for me, a lot of real estate clients, they just think that their realtor just wants to go out and make a quick buck, and it just comes down to the educational factor, being a preeminent agent, to be able to help them understand what they're getting into, what they might find the hard way, what they might find the easy way, and just becoming, more of a partnership instead of just a salesmanship to, the client, because that's what they need. They need to be educated.
Yes, sir. So what does being preeminent mean to you?
It means to be able to make a relationship instead of just make a transaction. I think that, when we get into the relationships and we can, create a bond that could last for years. I mean, that's more preeminent than just, hey, what do you want me to sell for you now? Or what do you want me to buy for you?
And you just hit on a big point there. A big point about being truly preeminent is not selling a client a house that's too much of a house, one that they can't afford, but also it's not allowing them to buy too less of a home, one that they didn't spend enough money on, that it was outside of their criteria. Maybe they were being cheap or trying to be, and they bought too less of a home and they're not happy a year from now. So that's the sweet spot about being preeminent and not having the fear of having tough conversations. I feel with the book, The Ultimate Real Estate Machine, it's not a book for everybody. There's a lot of tough conversations that are had in the book. Just like the one just mentioned, that 11%, only 11% of consumers trust real estate agents. That's just the cold, hard truth. And, something has to be done about that. And I think we can make our own little ding, and the book even makes its own little ding in the universe, to change that. What about you, Miss Tiffany? What's preeminence mean to you, and why is it important?
I would say, I agree with Kevin. It is that. It's also, it's just being the best that you can be and working for your client, and it's really not about me. It's about them, because this is the biggest purchase of most people's life, is the purchase of their home or real estate. So, and it's the biggest life changer for a lot of people too. And it can really make an impact on someone's life. If it's their first time home and, after several years, they can sell it and, have that equity from that sale and use that to better their life or their position in life. All of that is it makes such a big impact on so many people's lives, the way that it's done and how it's done and how they choose to do it and things like that. And I feel like you have to really just care about the person and their specific circumstances and their situation, and really deal to that and work with that to the best of our abilities.
And that's one thing that one of your big goals of the show is, hey, I'm really ramping up and I'm really building a team of preeminent agents to work along with me. That's one of your big things that you've really been working on, because you do have a lot of value to give back to the real estate community. And you're in Clearwater, is that right? Clearwater, Florida?
That's right.
You work the luxury market in Clearwater, Florida, especially. Do you work all price points or just the luxury market?
We do all price points. We have a lot of investors. We do commercial. We do pretty much everything.
How do you plan on going about, and you and I talk about on our one-on-one consultation calls, like it was either a day or two ago or last week or whenever it was. I lose track of time sometimes, but we spoke about, raising the standard with who that you're bringing on, because your team, you're not just looking to bring on any agents, right?
Yeah, I do want agents that want to become a preeminent agent. I want someone who cares and wants to care for their client base and build up that, like Kevin said, build up those relationships with their clients, so that it's, it is personal. And if you don't treat it personal and if you don't care like it's personal, then you can run into problems, and people don't, they don't get the same results if you don't do that. So yeah, that is my goal in building up the team, is to get the best of the best and people who can really strive to be better and continue to grow and get better at what they're doing.
So who is that perfect agent that you're looking to bring on to your team that you feel exudes preeminence? Now, they may not yet be at preeminence, but I think you and I talked about some core values that you put together, core values that you're going to be hiring folks by. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I put together, I really was looking at what are the predominant traits of that person or personality, and how they work and how they do their daily, routine or business, and how they go about that. So it's, professionalism is a big thing, and being professional in what you do. I think that's one thing that is really key. Obviously, granting having, I mean, there's so many different traits that we listed out. That was a key one for me. Another one is being honest. It's really important, obviously, to be honest, especially when you're dealing with someone else's life and everything else involved in that. And I know that there are rules and there are laws and things like that, but you do run into some problems in that area, I think, in all fields of life. So it's something that can make a big difference.
Love it, girl. Anything you wanted to add, Kevin? Excuse my slang there. Love it, girl. That probably was not. Speaking of professionalism, excuse me.
I love the fact that she brought up the honesty. I deal with a lot of dishonesty in some other aspects of my life, and it just runs you down so bad. I mean, and work ethic. I can't stress enough how strong work ethic is in the workplace. We get all types. We have lazy people, we have strong people, we have leaders, self-starters, you name it. I mean, that's just so important. But yeah, you got to be able to trust the people that you're working with and working for.
Love it. And Kevin, for the record, Kevin has flipped. He's been an investor. He's turned over 100 doors or so as an investor. He's currently in the Quad Cities market, which is in what state?
Illinois and Iowa border, right on
Illinois-Iowa border. Kevin has also built, scaled an electrical company that's been doing over $1 million in revenue, which I'm sure takes a lot of orders with electrical to generate over $1 million in revenue for the business. And you've been an entrepreneur for how long? Since what, 2004, 2005?
Yeah, 2005 is when I really started ramping up, becoming inspired,
So and there's just as what I'm getting at, there's so much diversity of the cast members on Agents on Fire that Tiffany's story and background is totally different than Kevin's story. But without a doubt, Kevin is an action taker, and he has a lot of experience as an entrepreneur. He is planning on, he and Stephanie are planning on moving into the Sarasota market. So they're going to be running a team out of Sarasota. They're also going to have one that's going to be running in the Quad Cities area as well, too. So it's going to be amazing to watch on the show, like how much that Kevin puts in place, because there is a shortcut to success. Kevin's never had a real estate team before, right?
Correct.
But there's a shortcut to success, and it is finding a mentor that has already been there and done that. So it's going to be fun. It's already fun putting his strategy, he and Stephanie's strategy together for 2022, which just does not include, hey, we're going to start a team. It includes, how do we wrap the investing piece into the team model? How do we do some things so the electrical company keeps running, etc. But it's really fun for me. It's really fascinating. Without further ado, I do want to hop into another problem, another one of the 11 problems outlined in the book, and it's problem number 8. And that the industry has, that the strategy of preeminence and being the preeminent agent in the market overcomes, and it's being a highly competitive industry with over 1.3 million real estate agents throughout the U.S. And actually, even since I wrote the book, I believe there's another 100,000 agents that's been added. So now I think there's over 1.4 million real estate agents in the U.S., and we have all been blessed with a hot market. And if you look at history just tells us things. And we all know, realistically, the market will not be hot forever. The market's going to turn. Doesn't mean it's going to be a catastrophic turn either. But the market is going to slow down at some point. And it always brings me back to Tony Robbins' Business Mastery. And Tony embeds in your mind, winter is my season. And what winter is my season, which can also relate to the real estate industry. Things in most markets slow down in the wintertime. There's not as much foot traffic in December as there is in June in most markets, close to all markets. But Tony is not just talking about, he's talking about economic downturns, market shifts. And history just tells us that in hot markets, more agents come to the industry. But also, when like the Great Recession, for those that have been around when the Great Recession hit and during the Great Recession, unfortunately, a lot of agents had to leave the business. And that's one thing that the ultimate real estate machine really helps out, is not just expanding, growing exponentially a sustainable a business with longevity, with multiple revenue pillars that also not just give you a great business, but also creates freedom in your life. But also, how do we do that with as much upside as possible, the reward piece, but also with as least amount of downside being the risk. So how do we do all that with minimizing risk? So what are your thoughts on, and I say it a good bit, it's an endless sea of real estate agents in the market. Just in the Metro Atlanta market, and I can't remember if it's Metro Atlanta or Georgia in total. I think it's just Metro Atlanta. Over 50,000 real estate agents, licensed real estate agents in the market. I'm sure in both of your markets, Kevin and Tiffany, you're not the only one in the market. So how does being preeminent separate you and your team from all the other agents?
Basically, it gives you a different mindset from most other agents. Don't be stagnant. Don't be a commodity. Think outside the box. Create new opportunities. That's how I see it. I see a lot of repetition in real estate agents. Oh, hey, you want me to sell your house or refer me out? Let me know what you have to sell. I hear the same stuff all the time. And when we're going through this process, we're coming up with new ideas and new strategies. Every day is something new. It's like you just, oh, I didn't even think about that. How common is this compared to that? And how can I put my own twist on this? And how can we brand? That's how I see being preeminent in this cycle. Because once we have Christmas is coming, the market slows down. Well, why does the market slow down, or is it just slow down for you? That's the questions I ask myself all the time.
Love it. How about you, Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean, it really is about being creative and making yourself stand out and doing things above and beyond what anyone else might do. And yeah, creating on your marketing, creating on your actions and how you handle your clients and everything. There's so many parts to it that you can expand on. So it is like continuing to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, and I'll tie it in just really quickly. Then we'll move on to the next pain point, and then we'll wrap up for the day. Is Chapter 11, Innovation and Value Creation, which is Chapter 11 in the book. And innovation, I believe innovation ties very close into differentiation. And innovation sounds like a very complicated word, like innovative. Like how? And I used to have that mental block, which was honestly a lie that I would tell myself that for years, hey, you're not a creative person. Which is a lie I told myself for years, because every human is creative. You just have to tap into that potential, which is not to keep plugging back the chapters of the book, but that is Chapter 2 of the book, is unleash the creative genius within you to have business breakthroughs, and I'm paraphrasing that. But what is innovation? It's just simply adding value where it does not currently exist in the market. And, being preeminent in the market, when you speak of preeminence, there's two separate sets of clients. One is your external clients, which obviously is your buyers and sellers. You always have to be always innovating. Tony, again, mentions in Business Mastery, he mentions Connie, which is an acronym for constant and never ending innovation. So you always got to be innovating with those external clients, but also you always have to be innovating with your internal clients, which are team agents, which are staff, vendors, et cetera, et cetera. So what is some things that, as far as being innovative and differentiating and always adding value to your agents, have you thought of any things that you're going to be doing in your market, Tiffany? Just even one thing.
Well, we have been going through a lot of different ideas over the past few weeks here. One is definitely having more client events and holding events specifically for the clients, or housewarming parties and things like that, which, honestly, in this area, I've never heard of. So it's definitely a new and creative thing for this area.
Love it. The last problem number 11, is over 80% of first-year real estate agents fail, being that they do not make it to year 2. If they're looking to be a full-time agent in real estate, that's just what the factual data is, that over 80% of them do not make it to year 2, which I think is horrible, a horrible statistic. And just the truth of that is what happens is that a lot of people blow through their 401k plans. They had hopes, dreams, aspirations, just like all three of us had, and they didn't make it. And I think the industry just didn't educate them properly to let them know. And what is, in my humble opinion, the two biggest reasons why that failure rate is so high. Number one, marketing. Which is client acquisition, because just like with any business, if you don't know how to acquire a client, you don't have a business. There's no income, so there is no business. And not only client acquisition, but not playing the game, quote unquote, but being a preeminent agent is about playing the lifelong game, which is creating lifelong clients that come back and buy and sell over and over, and they refer clients back to you as well. So my question back to you, Tiffany, is what are some things that you have, or what's your thoughts on how you are going to make your ding in the Clearwater market to curve that horrible statistic?
So the biggest thing is in building up my team, getting those people trained up and having a strategy in place to help them expand their businesses in real estate as real estate agents, so that they can achieve their goals in real estate. Because, like you said, it is a big thing. People don't know how to market. They don't know how to acquire clients and handle that other problem of the no trust factor in real estate agents, the low trust factor. So it's training them the right way and helping them and guiding them through that whole process so that they can actually achieve their goals in this, as an entrepreneur, really in this area.
Love it. Love it. And I don't think I wrapped that up. My ADHD got me, but number one reason I think they fail is marketing. They're not marketers, or even if they are great marketers, the cost to acquire a new real estate client, which is most people's biggest investment. So the cost to acquire, not a new lead, but a closing is extremely expensive. And that's how they run through 401k plans and their retirement and don't make it, because there is a cash conversion cycle that just when you launch a marketing campaign, most times you're not going to get paid back immediately, like 15 days later or 30 days later. So there is a cycle that it takes for that marketing, to start taking hold. Number two is training and coaching and consulting. I don't know of any brand, and not saying there isn't one, but I don't know of any brand that does not say, we have the best training on the planet. Not that I know, everybody says that, but on the other hand, that can't be true either. Everyone cannot have the best training on the planet. And I can't remember the statistics that NAR put out on the average agent's gross income, but it was something like 42,000 for 2020, and then like $5,300 or so worth of expenses. So if you do the math on that, it came out to around $38,000 net income, and that's for realtors. With real estate agents, licensed real estate agents across the board, it's probably somewhere around $26,000 to $29,000 gross, and then you can do some figuring on what that net is, which is not much. Guaranteed poverty. Let me see here. Last thing I'll wrap up with, Kevin. What is your take on why 80% of real estate agents fail, and how you feel that the strategy of preeminence and being the preeminent agent in the market, and your agents being on the same page, and you sharing that vision with them and them embodying that vision, how do you feel that you can make your own little ding in your market so less agents fail?
Basically, every agent needs to be preeminent, and if you don't know what that word means, like I didn't when we started, look it up in the dictionary, and get yourself a copy of the Ultimate Real Estate Sales Machine. Every person on my team is going to get a copy of that book. I'm going to highlight sections. I'm going to go through things. The training is just invaluable. I mean, the problem with people when they get out of their just start their real estate career, in my mind, is they don't have a plan. They don't have a platform. They just fall in, and they might get a little bit of training from their brokerage, but it doesn't really get down to the nitty gritty, to the meat and potatoes of what you really need, the ideas, the concepts. Oh, I'm going to go buy leads. Well, where are you going to buy them? And
like, how do I make income?
Exactly. People just get stuck because they just don't know, that they don't have that proper guidance.
Love it, brother. How about anything you want to add, Tiffany? And I'll end with one last question. And I appreciate your time. I know you're really busy.
I agree with that completely. You come into this industry and it's like, where do I go for this? Where do I go for that? How do I get leads? How do I get my clients? Where do I promote? There are so many options out there. You could be lost in the sea of marketing, and get nowhere because you don't know what works and what doesn't work.
My last thing is, and I agree with you 1,000%, both of you. My last question is there's as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes with Agents on Fire, with things that you guys are executing on, implementing into your business very quickly. Because if you really look at it, we've been working on this stuff for right about 4 to 5 weeks, not long at all. But y'all have been moving very fast. And one of those things that you've been learning is elite agent referral mastery. And where I'm tying being the preeminent agent, the number one referral strategy out of 217 predictable referral strategies to choose from, the number one is the strategy of preeminence, which is the foundation. If you don't have, when you're putting a predictable referral generating system together with multiple strategies, it's, if you did not have the strategy of preeminence, in, again, my humble opinion, that it would be like building a house on quicksand without a foundation. It's not going to last long. And you're not really going to have a referral strategy if you don't have that solid foundation. And the deeper that you understand, internalize, become, there is no finish line with preeminence. In my mind, there is no finish line. You're always looking to get better and better and better. So I'm definitely not saying, hey, I've reached the finish line at all. I'm always working to get better. So how are, and referrals, they are the number one most proven lead source, most proven being that they've been around probably before Jesus walked the earth. I don't know how long referrals have been around, but they've been around forever. They're also the least expensive lead source, being that they're free many times, or very low cost. They're the most profitable because you're not blowing through a bunch of money like on one of these websites, Facebook leads, selling Facebook leads and YouTube leads and whatever. And I'm not saying not to have that in place. And I can just say this from experience, that it's also the most overlooked and least utilized, underutilized lead source for producing real estate agents and team leaders, where it's a lot of times, not all times, it's the foundation of where you started out was, word of mouth advertising. And, that's how you got your name out there. That's how you was able to generate income. So you could do other sources of marketing. And then, shiny object syndrome, or chasing this squirrel and chasing that squirrel, going for different, state of the art lead sources, the next click funnel that's, going to take you to the promised land type thing, or spending 40,000, 80,000, 120 grand a month, whatever it is on, big media marketing, TV, radio, billboards, et cetera, which is, and I've done it, and it's silly to do that without, and I'm guilty, without having a proven, predictable referral generating system in place. And it's what we do is we don't recommend, hey, don't go do any other advertising. We do not recommend that. But it should be a supercharger onto every other form of advertising and marketing that you do. But going back to that, strategy number one, strategy of preeminence in elite agent referral mastery. Why does that, how is that important to both of you with your predictable referral generating system?
Well, you've got to have the foundation, like you said. And once you have that foundation there, you can take and you can handle all of the referrals. If you don't have that foundation, you're inundating yourself with, the flow of people, and you don't have the infrastructure there to handle it, then you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot.
Awesome. How about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I agree with that. You definitely have to have a plan. You have to have things in place. You have to be able to know what to do with the referrals. It's just so important to be able to contact these people, follow up, and create, just a future relationship. I mean, just to be friends with people or whatever the case, it's just how it is. You have to be able to provide a solid service. You have to be able to, convert.
Yeah, and I'll end with this, and I think it comes back to Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said, and he was a pretty smart guy. Albert Einstein said that any fool can make things complex, but it takes a real genius to make things simple. And I'm going to do the best I can to make things simple on this one. And it's just quite simply, if Tiffany's going to get her hair done at the hair salon and they completely don't do what they said they were going to do, and they completely mess Tiffany's hair up and they don't do anything to make it right, is Tiffany going to promote that hair salon? No, they aren't. But on the other end of the stick, if they are preeminent, and even if they do make a mistake, nobody is human, nobody is human. What in the world did I say? Nobody is perfect. We are all human. So everybody makes mistakes. But I think that's a big differentiator in companies, and even, companies in America today, where it was different compared to the yesteryear, is that the companies that really stand out are the ones that make it right. Hey, we make a mistake, but we go above and beyond and we make it right with you. That's being preeminent. And those are the type companies, when I'm doing business, no matter whatever product that I'm buying as a consumer, those are the ones that I personally want to do business with. Any last final thoughts from you two on that?
Get the book.
Get the book. Love it.
It's 20 bucks.
It's $20 for the paperback. This week, 99 cents on Kindle. That's just the first week. And we're also, as you can see in the banner, go to PlatinumRealEstateCoaching.com. And there's over $1,200 in gifts free when you do order the book, when you go to PlatinumRealEstateCoaching.com. So there's a lot of great gifts in there as well. Well, shoot, I sure do appreciate your time, and I hope y'all have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.